Welcome back, Devils fans. This is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And looking to build off the thrilling 7th-round shootout victory over the Penguins the other night in Pittsburgh, the New Jersey Devils return home to host the Vegas Golden Knights, who have had lots of troubles of their own. They were 3-8-3 in their last 14 games heading into this matchup. And what did the New Jersey Devils do? They put on a stinker for the ages, my friends. And your New Jersey Devils fall by a score of 3-1 at the Rock. And a painful game. An absolutely painful game. There's no way to slice it. Very dejecting type of loss. A loss in which the team seemingly failed to show up for this one. I am gutted by it. I am now starting to let my brain wander into dark, dark places. And I am very concerned about this 24-25 NHL season. We cannot lose another season, but my God, 3-1 loss, absolutely painful. First period, fairly uneventful. Another slow start for the Devils. I've said time and time again, I'd like to see them start hot and fast. We haven't seen it a lot this year, and as of late, the first periods have been kind of sleepy, if you will. And this one was no different. Devils outshot by an 8-5 margin in this one, which included the Devils killing off a 4-minute double minor high sticking penalty to Jackhughes when he clipped him with the stick and he drew some blood. Devils successfully kill it off, and the shot totals, like I said, they end at 8-5 in favor of Vegas. We head to the second, tied at 0, and I still have hope. I'm like, all right, we've seen this before. Sleepy period, maybe they'll come on later in the game. Nope. Beginning of the end. Vegas Golden Knights get 2 in the second, and we head to the third down 2-0, and it wasn't looking good. I was very dejected. Obviously, the first 2 periods were very uninspiring. And we get to the third. Jack Eichel adds one at 4:06 to give the Golden Knights the 3-0 lead. And then later in the period at 15:43, Ondrej Palat gets one on the power play from Nason and Bratt to cut the lead to 3-1. And that's all she wrote. Game ends 3-1. Pally got another one late in the third period, but got called back because he hit it with a high stick. His stick was above the crossbar, and so it got waved off. But gutting game. Absolutely gutting game. Survived the first, and then they just lost it in the second. Gave up the 2 goals, never recovered. They lose 3-1. We go to the game stats. Golden Knights with 40 shots on goal. Devils defense, where are you at? Devils defense, there's so much to get to. I'm just so dejected right now. But 40 shots against, a recipe for disaster. And the Devils with a paltry 15 shots on goal. Giving up 40 and getting 15, I mean, what more can we say? That's game right there. You're not winning games getting 15 shots on goal. And on the flip side, giving up 40 is a travesty. Face-off percentage, 48.2% for the Golden Knights, 51.8% for the Devils. Devils PK showed up. The only good thing, I guess, of the game, aside from Jake Allen. I mean, Jake Allen played solid. Can't blame the loss on him. When the team scores 1 goal and plays like that, you're not winning with anyone in net. But Golden Knights power play goes 0 for 5. Devils go 1 for 1 on their power play. 10 hits for the Golden Knights, 22 hits for the Devils. 7 block shots for the Golden Knights, 13 block shots for the Devils. Golden Knights with 16 giveaways, the Devils with 14 giveaways. Vegas with 5 takeaways, and the Devils with 0 takeaways, and that is just discouraging. To get outshot by a 40-15 margin is completely inexcusable and downright disgusting. I am disgusted by this game. I mean, some losses sting more than others, but a game where you're just dominated and you don't show up, very troubling and very concerning. I mean, I have no idea, what to make of this, what I expect to see on Saturday. So I'll rewind a little bit. We all were waiting with bated breath to see who was going to replace Siegenthaler in the defense. And obviously Nemec was one of the names people were getting excited about. And then there was some others, potentials out there. And we find out earlier in the day that it, in fact, will be Simon Nemec coming up to play on a pair with Luke Hughes, which means Brett Pesce is being shifted from the right side to the left side to allow Nemec to occupy a spot on the right. And if we're being honest, that pairing did not look so good. That might be putting it mildly. Simon Nemec, game he probably wants to forget. I understand he probably had some jitters. First game in the NHL in months. And, after all the hoopla with that article with the quotes and he said he was not happy not being in the NHL, and it kind of got blown out of proportion. But either way, Nemec makes his return, and it was far from triumphant. if we're being honest. It was a rough game for Nemec. Again, Luke Hughes looked shaky as well. And I will say, with Nemec coming up, I didn't expect Keefe to pair him with Luke Hughes. I just thought, I'm always of the mindset that pairing two inexperienced D-men together could be a calamity. If you have veterans and you could kind of mix and match and put a younger guy with a more experienced guy, I think that levels out. We've seen that with success for the majority of the season up until very recent times, where Brett Pesce and Luke Hughes as a pair were phenomenal. And that is because I do believe Brett Pesce can compensate and kind of correct some of the mistakes that Luke might make or some of the chances he may take that leave us exposed. And having a veteran that's very smart, heads-up guy like Pesce can compensate for that. And so I thought Luke and Nemec, I'm like, okay, we'll see it again. Let's see, maybe because they're familiar, they've played together before, maybe they could, perform admirably. And it didn't work out. I think Nemec obviously was probably a little nervous, and it's understandable. I'm not going to kill the kid for it, but when you make those quotes to the paper and it becomes the thing and takes on a life of its own, you got to back it up. You talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. He did not walk the walk last night, and hopefully he rebounds from it if he's in the lineup Saturday in Montreal. Now, I don't know where the team's going to go in that regard. I mean, there are other options to swap in. I mean, it probably would be pretty damaging to Nemec's confidence, I would say, and he'll probably be super pissed with the organization if he does not play in that game Saturday. But in the reality of the situation, you guys know me. I'm old school, baby. I'm from the Lou Lamoriello school of New Jersey Devils hockey, and I know for a fact Uncle Lou would have never allowed a player's comments, actions, going to the media, whatever it is. Lou would not have his hand forced by players speaking out or doing whatever they're going to do. And I think that is the appropriate approach. You cannot let players' comments and things of that nature dictate your moves or have an influence in it. And I'm not saying that that did play a role in this. We don't know. We'll never know. The executives and coaches very well may have believed that Nemec was the best guy to call up because, this is our best defenseman not playing in the NHL. I totally get that. I'm not saying that that's not the case. It very well may be the case. I can't say for sure. But I also can speculate that maybe those comments and Nemec not being happy could have played a part in it. Could have. Again, not saying it did, but it could have. And if that is the case, I think that's wrong. But we'll never know. So, moot point. But if Nemec is going to play on Saturday in Montreal, I do hope that we see him play with Pesce. I think that's the safest angle to take. If Nemec is going to play again, you got to insulate him a little bit. Play him with a veteran guy, a guy like Pesce. He made Luke look very good for most of the season before they got broken up. And I think he could have a similar calming effect on Simon Nemec. I think pairing Luke and Nemec again would just be a little bit silly in my opinion. But who knows? Maybe they will do it. We have no idea. And maybe Nemec won't even play. But I'm just hoping if Nemec does play in Montreal that he's playing with Pesce or another veteran. Doesn't necessarily have to be Pesce. He seems like the most logical. But I just don't want to see Luke and Nemec again personally. I just think, again, mixing two kids when you don't have to, not ideal. But I'm drained from this game. A lot of people came out. Shout out to everyone that came out for the Post-Postgame Live. It was a very active Post-Postgame Live, which I started pretty early because the game was pretty much over early on in the third period. So after that third goal, I didn't wait too long. I went on. Absolutely gutting loss. We have one more game before the Four Nations break. It's that Montreal game, and we desperately need a win. Points are at a premium right now. There is no games to throw away. Last night was the Devils' 56th game. They have 26 games remaining, and it's just wild how fast the season goes by. 26 games remaining, and currently through the 56 games played, your New Jersey Devils are hanging on to the third spot in the Metro with 66 points. They had an opportunity to gain ground on Carolina. Unbelievable. Carolina lost last night as well. That win would have been huge. We would have been tied with Carolina in points, and they would have had one game in hand. But now we're still 2 points behind them, and they still have the game in hand. We could have, it's crazy, could have closed the gap. It's going to be right there for the taking if the Devils could play to their capability. They did not last night, and so right now through 56 games, 66 points for a .589 points percentage, and we just got to hold off the Blue Jackets, who are at 60 points through 55 games played. So 6 less points, 1 game in hand. If they win the game in hand, they're only 4 points behind us. They're going to be on our asses for the rest of the season. And we maybe end up fighting for a wild card. We may end up having to hold on to third place in the Metro, depending on how all these other teams do. But it's going to be a dogfight. Nothing's easy. I think a lot of people were kind of delusionally believing that the playoffs were a guarantee, and they're anything but a guarantee right now. They are very much in jeopardy. A lot of people talking about Fitzy not making any moves yet. And listen, we don't have a ton of cap space. A lot of people are expecting a big wow kind of fancy name trade or something like that. I never thought that was going to be the case. I was just hoping for 2 bottom 6 pieces, and I still remain hopeful that he can get that done. But we don't have a ton of cap space. And I think he's going to wait closer to the deadline. And I just hope, and a lot of people were saying this, and I hope this is wrong, a lot of people were speculating that we could slip out of the playoffs and end up just doing nothing or potentially selling a couple pieces. That would absolutely kill me. That would break my soul. After last season was kind of thrown away, I'll never get over that. And for it to happen again this season would be completely unforgivable. I don't know, what type of mental state I would be in if this New Jersey Devils club does not make the playoffs this year, especially given where we were at the holiday break. I mean, just inconceivable to not make the playoffs. I still believe in the group. They got to start showing some heart, though. That was a gutless performance. Stefan Nason had some interesting comments after the game talking about, level of care and a lot of stuff. It's worth checking out. If you haven't seen that, I'll put the link in the description. Nason definitely kind of wore his heart on his sleeve in the interviews afterwards, but he looked hurt. He wants to win. He's a gamer. I love Stefan Nason, our junkyard dog, but they got to step up. Hopefully they could respond in Montreal, but consistently inconsistent has been the theme of the season for this Devils group, and it's going to be hard to do anything in terms of even make the playoffs if they continue to play like this. It's just so crazy. The disparity of this Devils group between when they're on top of their game and when they're just flat, it's a sea of difference. It's just crazy to think the team that waxed Boston 5-1 at the Rock on Jacques Lemaire Ring of Honor night and the team that beat up on Philly 5-0, that team, they're looking like up here, and then you see games like last night and it's like they're down there. How could this be the same team? It's like no middle ground. It's like amazing or completely terrible. And I can't recall any other Devils teams that so routinely looked so good and so bad in the same season. It's crazy to think about. I really can't recall another Devils team over my 30 years of being a fan where they could look so good and look so bad. I mean, every team has off nights and, games where they don't have it. But when you don't have it or you have an off night, it can't be what we saw last night. 15 shots and just looking lethargic and just totally checked out for a majority of the game. I thought, it's painful. It's painful. I hope they figure it out. I still believe in the group. I'm hoping for the best, but if I'm being realistic at this moment right now, this team is not very good at the moment. I mean, I hope we could see them return to the play from December or anywhere near that. I mean, this team set an NHL record with 7 straight games of 20 shots or less. Where is that defense? We gave up 40 shots. Poor Jake Allen. He deserves so much better. The team has just floundered in front of him for a while now. He's picked up a couple wins, but he should have way more wins on the season. The team just doesn't show up in front of him often, and it's painful. My heart goes out to Jake Allen. My heart also goes out to any fans that went to the Rock and watched that game live last night. I would be furious to spend all that money and brave the cold winter elements of New Jersey and to go watch a team that just did not show up. But I'm honestly heartbroken right now. I hope they turn it around, but it's I'm starting to – my mind is wandering to dark places right now. It's not good. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments. If it were up to you, would you play Nemec on Saturday in Montreal, or would you call up a different defenseman? I'm curious to see where the audience is on that. I think there's going to be a lot of votes both ways. I think people will still say play Nemec, and there'll be a lot of people that say don't. But I'm curious. So let me know in the comments about that. Let me know anything else about this game in the comments. Let me know about anything I said in this video in the comments. Everything, anything New Jersey Devils hockey, just throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to all of you. Lots of stuff in the works. I'll have a lot of cool stuff coming out during the Four Nations break, and that break can't get here soon enough. Hopefully Markey comes back healthy and better than ever. Same with Nico. We just can't catch a break, and when it rains, it pours, and we're without Siegs now. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. The injury bug is back, and it just seems like there's a dark cloud hovering over this New Jersey Devils franchise that hopefully could leave. Hopefully we could get healthy in early March and just go on a nice run. Just start gelling and march into that playoff steamrolling people, but they got a lot of work to do. But I'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go. Devils.